Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brittany of BrittanyJJones.com. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all my next sewing project. Yes! So this is going to be like a sewing plans and pattern preview. I used to do pattern previews quite a bit every time before I got ready to do a sew along. So that way you all, if you wanted to follow along with me during the sew along, you had time to kind of buy your supplies and you kind of knew what to expect with the pattern because I reviewed it in the pattern preview video. So today is going to be very similar like that. I'm just going to share with you all the project, tell you why I'm really excited about it, share with you the fabric, and then we can go through the pattern together. Let's get started. So for the pattern, I shopped my own pattern stash. If you know, then you know I have a lot of patterns. So instead of going to the store, I just wanted to go through there. I was looking for an oversized button up top, and I found it. I found Mccalls 8001, and I'm going to be making view B. I'm really excited about this because you can do a lot with this pattern. You can see here the model has on a solid color. It's like a little ruffle sleeve on the detail, a ruffle detail that's on the sleeve. But then if you have a print, you can play around with that and a solid. If you have two of the same fabrics and maybe they come in different colors, you can play around with that. So I love that option with this pattern. But also if you have stripes, then you can use view B, and that is the V that I plan to make. I don't know if I'm going to add the pockets on it just yet, but as far as the stripe play, how they have some going vertical, some going horizontal, that's what I absolutely love. So yeah, and then like the oversizedness of the top, I'm here for that. So that's why I'm really excited for this pattern. Again, it's Mccall 8001, and I'm planning to make a view B on this pattern. For fabric, I'm going to be using this fabric right here, which is why I'm so excited to do view B because it had all that stripe play. I think this is going to be great. This fabric is from Melanated Fabrics, and it's just a really gorgeous, really, really beautiful. So this is the wrong side of the fabric. This is the right side of it. I just love it. This fabric is 100% rayon. It drapes like a dream. And we actually have it in 3 different colorways on the website. I have a link down for you in the description box if you want to check it out. But this right here is our black and lime, and I love it. Again, I think it's going to be really good for view B on this Mccalls pattern. So if you have this pattern in your stash, yay, go ahead and pull it out. We can sew this project together. If you don't and you're interested in sewing it, you don't have to run out and buy the pattern right now, but when it's on sale, if you like the top, if you want to sew along with me, you'll have a video available that you can follow along to. So now let's go ahead and talk about the sizing that I plan to cut because this pattern is oversized. I normally always grab the larger pattern thinking, okay, I know I'm gonna need it either for the large or the extra large. I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and get the larger pattern. But this one you gotta be careful because I actually am gonna use the medium. I mean, I could actually cut the small too, but because it is an oversized pattern and I still want to, keep that design, I will just cut the medium. I have a 40-inch bust, and so the finished garment measurement for the bust line on the medium is a 47 1/4. So that gives me 7 1/4 extra inches around the bust. That's enough oversized for me. If I was to cut the large, it would be 51 1/4. See, that's why you definitely got to check the finished garment measurements. And you can't just assume, oh, let me just grab the large. I've gotten in trouble like that many times. So yeah, definitely make sure if you do go shopping for this pattern, definitely check the size, the finished garment measurement to make sure that you don't need the smaller size envelope as opposed to the large one. Or then you may want the large one if you want it to be super oversized. Do what works best for you. Okay, y'all, so here's a closer look at the pattern. Don't mind my table if y'all can see all the scratches. That's another video where yeah, let's just focus on this. So again, Mccalls 8001. I'm going to be doing view B right here on this pattern. So this is the layout that I will follow. And the pieces is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces. It's a total of 12 pattern pieces in this pattern. So I'm cutting out everything except for the flounce that goes along the sleeve for view C. So that's a lot of pieces. Let's go ahead and flip on the back. So step number 1, we need to fuse with interfacing pieces 8, 9, and 10. Fuse those with interfacing. On the back, we're going to be making a pleat right here on our back pattern piece. Then we will attach the yoke. Then for the yoke facing, you'll fold in the seam allowance, give that a press. And then up here at step 5, we'll just be attaching the facing to the yoke and to the back of the pattern piece. Steps 6 through 12, or I'm sorry, 6 through 13, they look like they're all for the pocket. So I still, like I said, haven't decided if I want to add the pocket pieces or not, but if I do, then I will just follow these steps for finishing off the top edge of the pocket, folding it in, top stitching it, attaching it to the front of the top. And then these pockets also have a flap. So I will follow steps 10 through 13 for sewing and attaching and top stitching the flap. Again, still don't know if I want to do the pocket or not. For step 14, this is for views A, B, and C. This is where we will sew the shoulders together. And then it says to slip stitch the yoke facing over the shoulder seams. This is where I will probably do the burrito method, where I would just kind of roll it over and stitch it as opposed to slip stitching it. So that's something that I can show in the sew along if you don't know what the burrito method is. Step 16, we're sewing the side seams together. Step 17, we're sewing the hem band together. At step 18, we'll turn in the seam allowance on the unnotched edge of the hem band, give that a press, and then trim the pressed seam allowance down to 3/8 of an inch. At 19, looks like we're just attaching the hem band to the bottom of the top. And at step 20, it looks like we are folding up the hem band, and it says to slip stitch the pressed edge over the seam. I'll probably just do a top stitch for that, but we'll see once we get there. At step 21, it looks like we are working on pattern piece number 8, which is the front band. That should already be interfaced because we would have did that at step 1. So then we'll go ahead and press over the unnotched edge and then prepare that so that we can attach it to the front at step 23, and then we'll slip stitch it in place at step 24. Also, I will probably just top stitch it. So again, that's something that I will see as I'm sewing if I want to slip stitch it or if I just want to top stitch it in place. We'll see. At step 25, it does say to edge stitch the front band as shown. So if I top stitch that first one and then do that edge stitch, that's probably what I will do for this step. The next couple steps between 26 and 33, it's all about the collar, stay stitching it, sewing the collar piece, attaching it to the collar band, and then attaching it to the neck edge of your top, slip stitching it and edge stitching that in place. And then the finishing for view A and view B is to stitch the sleeve band sides together, fold those, looks like with wrong sides facing, baste them together, attach them to the sleeve, and finish that off. The next step at 37 through 40 looks like it's all for view C, and that is sewing the flounce and attaching that to the sleeve, then doing some edge stitching around that. And then for view A, B, and C, just going to make your buttonholes in your buttons, and sew on your buttons, and then you'll be all done. So that is just a quick preview of the pattern instructions, again, from Mccalls 8001. And again, this is the fabric that I will be using. This is a rayon from Melanated Fabrics. I think it's going to be really great for this project. On the back of the pattern envelope, it gives you further details that you will need for this project. So it gives you suggested fabrics from crepe, crepe de chine, poplin, and challis. You will also need some fusible interfacing. For the notions, you'll also need some coordinating thread as well as 8 5/8 of an inch buttons. These right here are the buttons that I have in my stash that I think I'll use for this top. I will see. I may change my mind. I thought these little goldish part was a little bit more yellow, so I may change my mind, but right now these are the buttons that I have out for this project. Well, that is all for my sewing plans and next project that I'm going to be sewing, and also recording a tutorial for or sew along for. So if you are interested in the sew along, definitely make sure that you subscribe below, turn on your notifications so you know exactly when that video goes live. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be sure to comment below if you have any questions, and I will see you all in the next video. Blessings, everyone. Bye.